What advice has she received on the total funding that will be required to achieve a predator-free New Zealand by 2050?
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Maggie Barry.
I have received advice from DOC which costs out our ability to make parts of New Zealand, including various islands, predator-free, and for us to take a staged approach. DOC, of course, is internationally recognised for its ability to eradicate pests from islands. We've eradicated pests from more than 150 islands so far, including Kapiti Island, Whenua Hou, Little Barrier Island, etc. Generally, there is scientific consensus that this goal is achievable, and predator-free New Zealand has also been supported by philanthropists and others. So I have received very good advice that this excellent initiative, which I'm commending the Greens for supporting today, will actually be achieved.
Order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, Kevin Haig.
It was a primary question, sir, on notice and asked about the advice that she received, and the Minister, in her response, has not answered the question about what that advice was.
I absolutely agree with the member. The question's been on notice. The essence of the question is a dollar figure as to the total cost of the project. If the Minister can't answer that, then I have no alternative but to give additional supplementary questions to Mr Haig. But if the Minister wants to attempt to answer the question first, I'll reconsider after hearing the answer. The Honourable Maggie Barry.
Mr Speaker. So there have been a number of estimates that have been put forward, some of which are accurate, some of which are building on suppositions. For example, well, we think that they're accurate. At this stage, when we look at how much it costs us to, for example, rid the $1 million mouse from the Antipodes, that is $1 million and upwards. There are various studies. A $9.04 billion figure came through from Auckland University, for example. That figure was based on the estimated highest per hectare cost of current eradication technology. It does not, though, take into account potential technological advances, and it's simply really a scale-up of current methods that are used on islands.
Supplementary question, Kevin Haig.
How much of the total funding required to achieve a predator-free New Zealand will the government commit to providing?
The Honourable Maggie Barry.
We have already committed $28 million of new money over 4 years. That's an initial start-up. That comes in addition to the approximately $100 million that is paid out every year by various Crown entities to ensure that we can keep on top of the main three predators, the rats, the stoats and the possums. What we have been looking for and been very open about is that the investment that we're putting into science and technology and research is where the groundbreaking gains will be made. As I said, 5 years ago this wasn't considered possible. Now it is very much within reach, and there has been universally approval from international agencies and from others, and just very recently today, even from the Greens themselves.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Kevin Haig.
Thank you, sir. How can the government guarantee that the predator-free target will be funded adequately when fully 2/3 of the funding will apparently come from the private sector and regional councils, and government's own contribution will be entirely contingent on their decisions?
The Honourable Maggie Barry.
I refute what the member has just said. Our contribution, our initial contribution of $28 million is something we've put in to start the ball rolling, and I think it's a significant investment from the Crown. We are committed to achieving this goal, and this level of investment, for example, from other philanthropists, the member may not be aware, but there are the Next Foundation had contributed $100 million over 10 years. The Morgan Foundations, both of them, Tyndall Foundations, these are all significant philanthropic groups that have contributed large sums of money because they believe in the vision. They believe in the notion that we can get rid of these eco-invaders that are eating our natural creatures, our birds, lizards, etc., to the point of extinction. This is an achievable goal, but I've always said from the start, as did the Prime Minister, we will do it in collaboration. We will all do it together. We also are putting money into a community fund. So, for example, Sir Owen Glenn has just contributed a good sum of money to contribute to our money. So it's going very well.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Kevin Haig.
Thank you, sir. Why should the public have any confidence that the government is genuinely committed to the predator-free goal when another of its 2050 aspirational goals, halving greenhouse gas emissions by 2050, has actually seen emissions rise under her government?
The Honourable Maggie Barry.
I think comparing apples with pears in this space and moving quite a long way from the primary question aside, we are a government that backs itself to succeed. The climate change initiatives are excellent. New Zealand is doing its fair share, and there will be other announcement that our extremely capable Minister, the Honourable Paula Bennett, will be making in due course around that. But for my part, for Predator-Free New Zealand, which comes under the Department of Conservation, the funding and the resources and the level of energy commitment and expertise that is going in means that it is achievable. And if that member is so cynical, why is it that the Greens have tried to insert themselves into government policies? We're pleased that you're supporting it, of course.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Jerry Brownlee. Order.
Mr Speaker, my question to the Minister. Does the Minister believe that the eradication of exhaust fumes from a very large number, tens of millions of possums, would make a difference to CO2 emissions?
The Honourable Maggie Barry.
The Minister makes an interesting point. His knowledge of opossum dietary habits is perhaps greater than my own, but obviously eradicating probably up to 10 million opossums in this country could only help, not only with our biodiversity but also with our gas emissions. So I thank the member for the suggestion and that valuable point.
Supplementary question.
Order. Supplementary question, Kevin Haig.
Will she take up the Green Party's initiative of charging a taonga levy on overseas visitors to ensure a dedicated and substantial revenue stream for eliminating predators? And if not, why not?
The Honourable Maggie Barry.
This really falls within the domain of the Prime Minister and Minister Bennett because tourism is their purview. I would really be very hesitant to say that you have to go into these things quickly. Clearly the Greens have just made it up on the back of an envelope. It's a very poorly thought through initiative. We, on the other hand, are doing some substantial gains. By doubling the levy, I would suggest, Mr Speaker, by doubling the tourism levy, you run the risk of killing the goose that lays the golden egg. Tourism is now our biggest revenue earner over dairy. Why would you try and penalise people coming to this country who perhaps don't understand our environment prior to us coming here?
The answers are significantly long enough. The
Supplementary.
Order. Kevin Haig, supplementary question.
Well, when will she take some action to advance the agreement her government already has, signed by the Prime Minister, with the Green Party to develop pest control strategy together?
The Honourable Maggie Barry.
Way before my time, there was a memorandum of understanding between the government and the Greens. There is no longer. Any so-called...
Order. Mr Lees-Galloway, please a little more, or a little less interjection, so that I can hear the answer.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. So the Greens have no role to play in government policy, government initiatives, anything that we come up with. Your support of Predator-Free New Zealand after the event is welcome. It's good that you see sense at last as a party, not the Speaker as a new, but this party, which has such poor conservation and environmental records of its own. This is a desperate measure to insert yourselves into something that is not of your making.